Hello and welcome back to 1 in 75. My name is Alicia and I'm an ovarian cancer survivor, and I want to make these videos just to share with you some of my experiences and what to expect if you or a loved one has had a recent diagnosis. I hope that you will share these videos with friends or family members who are facing this themselves so they have a place to come where they can get some quick answers and a friendly smile to help talk them through this new journey. Today I want to talk to you about your first chemotherapy session when you go up to the cancer center and it's your first time. It's going to be a new thing. It's going to be a little bit scary, but I'm here to just help you realize there's nothing to be scared about. Talk you through a little bit of what my experience was in hopes that when you go in for your first chemotherapy, you can reflect back and say, I understand what she's saying and it really wasn't that bad. Or I remember what Alicia told me and I'm not going to be scared because it's not that bad. So let's discuss it. You're going to arrive at your chemo center, and if you watched my earlier videos, make sure you ask for a placard to put into your dash, on top of your dash, to see if you have designated parking so you don't have to walk so far to get to your treatment center. So find a very nice place to park and go on in. You're going to go to the front counter and meet with your medical staff there, get all checked in, exchange some pleasantries, give them a smile, they'll give you one back. And then you're going to sit in the waiting room for a little while. I mean, at what appointment do we not do that, right? At some point, you'll be called back for your lab work. Now, keep in mind, this is just how my experience went. It might be a little bit different for you. You'll be called back and you're going to have your blood work done through your port, if you have a port, and your port accessed and already set up and everything that you need to have your treatment that day. If you want to know more about accessing your port, I'll put a link up above so you can watch that video all about accessing the port. So you'll have your port accessed. Share some jokes with the nurses if you like. Get to know them by their name. Thank them for what they do for you. They'll take your blood work and you'll go back out to the waiting room and, find a puzzle to work on, read a magazine. If you want to bring something with you to keep you busy, like whatever tasks you like to take with you, just, bring something with you to keep you busy. You'll only be out there for maybe 15 or 20 minutes. If you're like me, you'll meet up with a keyboard player, maybe dance the polka in the middle of the room just to get everybody to smile. I swear I did that. You'll be called back by the nurse, and usually your oncologist will have a set nurse that works with them, so you'll get to see that person every time. And they will take your weight, they will ask you if you're having any complications, they'll take you back to the room where you'll meet with your oncologist first, and your oncologist will come in after you've had your blood pressure taken and your temperature taken, and they'll go over things with you. How are you feeling? They'll listen to your lungs, listen to your heart. If you have an abdominal cancer, they'll probably palpate your belly a little bit. If it's maybe something neurological, they might do a neuro workup on you real quick just to make sure your balance is good. All depends on the type of cancer you've been diagnosed with. And once they give you the all clear, they'll discuss with you what your treatment plan is for that day and just confirm your medications. And they'll walk out and the nurse will take you back to the treatment center. Now, where I had my chemotherapy was a lovely treatment center. They had beautiful views out to a beautiful little creek and squirrels and flowers and birds. And I didn't get that room the first time. I got put into a room that just had a TV and 3 walls and a curtain. So if you are a little claustrophobic and you see that they have nice open rooms, ask for those. See if you can be put on the calendar for those because they do make it a much more lovely experience. But I tend to make fun of my situation wherever I am, so I'll put a picture right here. I will share with you that on my first roundabout with chemotherapy, I actually took a T-Rex with me and had some fun with a T-Rex. So we had a lot of fun. You'll get nice and comfortable in your chair. Your nurse will introduce herself to you. This will be a different nurse than the nurse that you have with your oncologist. You'll have a team in the back at your cancer center. They'll get you all situated. We will have a video about what to put in your chemo bag. When I get that done, I'll put the link right up here because everywhere you turn, people are going to say, oh, put together a chemo bag. You're going to want to take a chemo bag with you. I packed a chemo bag that was like a full duffel bag the first time. And after the second time, I realized I did not need 90% of what I took in that bag. So One of those things being I did not need to bring a blanket. It's nice to bring a blanket if you have a family member that's made you a beautiful blanket, but really they should have, make sure you check, your nurses should have access to nice warmed blankets that they can bring out and put across your legs while you're sitting in that chemo chair and just keep you nice and warm and comfy. They should have extra pillows. They should have warmed blankets. They should have water. You should have a cancer center that should be able to offer you juices or some 7-Up or something to keep your tummy calm. So when you first get sat down, you know, they're going to go through their routine of getting everything ready for you, your IV poles, check your port, get you situated. Now, I'm actually recording these during a time when we're in the middle of the pandemic, so I'm not sure at this time if you're able to have a support person with you, but there should be one chair at least in there for a support person to be with you. That's usually the limit at treatment centers. They don't want a bunch of people back there, so it's usually one support person. So make sure you determine who your support person is and have them lined up for every treatment. You need to have somebody there for more than one reason, not just to be emotional support, but you really do need to have somebody keeping an eye on you. If your nurses walk away and you have some type of a reaction, you have to have somebody who's on the ball to get their attention and say, hey, she's not acting right, or she's passed out, who knows what. You need to have somebody there. Once they get all situated and you're ready to go, they're going to come in and you will probably, now again, this is my experience, chemotherapy is different for each individual. Most of the time you will start with like some Benadryl. I'll give you a couple tabs of Benadryl, and that is to help stave off any type of an allergic reaction to any of the chemotherapy. So you'll probably have a couple of Benadryl and it'll make you just a little bit sleepy. So all of these activities that you bring with you to do while you're sitting in the chair for your chemotherapy, don't be surprised if you don't get to a lot of them, because there's going to be a lot of neat things that's going on that's new to you that you're going to be paying attention to. And when you're not doing that, you're either getting up to go to the bathroom or you're sleeping. So keep that in mind. Don't pack your bag full of 20 crossword puzzles, adult coloring books, crochet, because this is everything that I did. All of these things, you won't get to all of them. You're going to be sleepy because they give you Benadryl. Now also in your IV then, you're going to get some steroids. The steroids will help you with your chemo as well, help you fight off the inflammation, and have your doctor explain to you exactly what steroids you'll be using and what their purpose will be. But you will have steroids. That will come into play later, because after you're done with your chemo, you're going to be feeling great for 24 hours because you're on a steroid rush. But you'll get your steroids, you'll get your Benadryl, and then you're going to start getting your chemotherapy. Now, before I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, I thought chemotherapy was chemotherapy. I did not realize that there are all of these different types of chemotherapies that are blended and mixed and put together at different times, either in the same bag or in separate bags, hung at the same time. Chemo cocktails. There's a million of them. You will be told what your chemo cocktail is, and once you get all settled and you've had your Benadryl and you've had your steroids, you will have probably 1 or 2 chemos administered at that time. You will have a specific pharmacist deliver the chemotherapy to your chair, and he will lock it in a bin. But before he locks it in a bin, he will verify with the nurse that what your treatment plan is. He will verify what the chemotherapy is. She will double check it to make sure it is the proper chemotherapy, and it gets locked in a bin next to your bed, next to your chair. Then, before the nurse starts the chemotherapy, she will call in another nurse, and both of those nurses will verify the chemotherapy, verify that that is the correct cocktail, verify that you are the patient, verify the dosage and the strength. They will verify everything. They will both sign off on it. Then the bag gets hung on your IV pole, and they will attach it to the tubing that is coming out of your port from when your port was accessed. If you do not see safety measures put in place, if you don't have people double checking, if you don't have that nursing staff double checking, say, excuse me, before you plug that in, are you going to double check that with another nurse to make sure all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted, and make sure that that is your medication, it is the proper medication, and the dosage is right, and it's for you? Make sure you do that. The whole time I've ever had chemotherapy, I've never had somebody not do that. They were very much on the ball where I had my chemotherapy administered. So you're going to get that first chemotherapy up on the bag. You might think, based on what you've seen in the movies, you're instantly going to get sick and vomit everywhere. Didn't happen for me. I know it happens for some, but don't put that in your head. Don't get the mindset that, oh my God, while I'm getting this chemotherapy, I'm going to be vomiting everywhere. Might not happen for you. I can honestly tell you, in all of my chemotherapy treatments, I never saw anybody vomit. I wasn't the only one. Every bed was full. Every chair was full. I never saw anybody vomit while they were getting their chemotherapy. So just kind of put that out of your mind. If you start to feel a little queasy, let your nurse know. If you feel overheated, let your nurse know. If your feet start to tingle and get hot, or if your hands start to tingle and get hot, let your nurse know. They know what to do to counter these symptoms that start happening for some people when they have their chemotherapy. Now just know that some chemotherapy is going to make you pee, and it's going to make you pee a lot. A lot. There was one particular chemotherapy that I was on for ovarian cancer. I was up having to pee every half an hour. Now, ask your nurses, if I have to utilize the restroom, what is the procedure? Because my first chemotherapy treatment when I was there, I'd ring the button. These girls are busy. They're busy. I'd ring the button. They'd come back and I'd say, I have to pee. And they'd have to unplug everything from the wall, get me all situated, and get me walking off to the bathroom. Well, after about the third time, I said, do I have to keep calling you? And they're like, no. You're not stapled down to that chair. You can get up out of that chair. There's plenty, just don't walk so far that you rip this out of your chest. So when I had to pee, I got up. I unplugged my IV stand myself and I walked to the bathroom. Did my business, washed my hands, always wash, always double flush. We'll talk about that in another video. Washed my hands and I walked right back to my room, plugged myself back into the wall and sat down. There are things you can do for yourself. You don't have to be invalid just laying on the chair getting your chemotherapy. If you're feeling well enough to get up, these are things you can do. If you're not feeling well, if you're feeling a little bit lightheaded, a little bit woozy, don't do that. Make sure you let them know, I have to utilize the restroom, but I'm a little shaky. Either your support person can go with you or they can go with you. Don't do it by yourself. But I can assure you the entire time that I had my chemotherapy, and again, my situation will be different from yours, I never had to have anybody actually help me to the bathroom because of either of those issues. So you will have your different medications put through. Now anticipate your very first chemotherapy is going to take hours and hours and hours. When you have your very first chemotherapy, they're going to be introducing that into your IV line at a very slow pace. They want to make sure you can tolerate it. They want to make sure that you don't have any allergic reactions. It's going to go at a very slow pace. So just plan on being there all day. My very first chemotherapy was 12 hours long. So it was an all-day ordeal. Again, if you're at a very good cancer center, they will offer you things to eat. I had volunteers that would come around and say, do you want a granola bar? Would you like some fresh fruit? Would you like a yogurt? Would you like a sandwich? They were always making sure I had something in my tummy. If they have that available to you, take them up and take them up on it. Get a juice, get a sandwich. You're going to be there for a while. If they don't offer those services, this is where it's important for you with your support person. Send them down to the cafeteria, have them pick you up something. If they want to run across the street, if there's a fast food place across the street, have them grab you something and bring it back so you can just sit and relax and have the medication go in. It's honestly, you're just sitting there. It's not like you feel it. You don't feel the chemotherapy going into your body. You're going to be fine. So just plan on being there for a while. Plan on taking a few naps. Tell your support person to bring an iPad or a tablet or something to keep them occupied because there's only so many things you can talk about. You should have a TV in there if you want to watch TV, but just have it be a relaxing day. Drink it all in. This is a new journey. There's no need to have gloom and doom. Embrace it. Embrace it. I'm not saying own it because nobody wants to own the cancer. But at least embrace the experience, learn from it so you can share it with others. All right, guys, that's what to expect for your first chemotherapy. And again, when you're all done, you're just going to go home on a steroid high. Make sure you get something good to eat and go to bed. So until I see you next time here on 1 in 75, my name is Alicia. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care of yourself and keep smiling. Bye-bye.